Okay, buddy. Well, we'll holler at you later, man. Glad you stopped by. Yeah, come on by anytime. Yeah, I'm usually here, so just come on by anytime. We'll sit around. All right, buddy. Holler at you later. Bye. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the shop. My goodness, didn't know you was around. Talking to a friend of mine, came by. I just had come down here to kind of work on some stuff and come by here and sit around and talk for a little while. And I'm glad y'all stopped by too. That's what I like to do, is like to see is people stop by the shop and us just talk some fishing. And that's what he and I was talking about. We were just sitting and talking about different things that people don't throw anymore. Have y'all ever thought about that? Of course, people my age, hate to say it my age, but you know, there for a long time, we throwed pretty much the same thing year and after. But anyway, all this new fancy stuff that's going on, it's good if that's what you like. I ain't got nothing against it if that's what you like to throw. But me, myself, and that's what me and him was talking about, was the fact that people don't throw old stuff that for years and years are guaranteed to catch fish. And that's what our video today is about. Different techniques that will still catch fish. You know, you can still have people out here doing their thing out in the middle of the lake or whatever. You can still have people up flipping the bushes or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, this time of year, and when it's winter time, going into some pretty bad weather like we're fixing to have here in the south, there's some things that you can do that I guarantee is going to catch you some fish. What am I talking about pretty much? Is the old Carolina rig. Oh, no! He said Carolina rig. Oh, my gosh, no. Well, I'm telling you right now that that's one of the best things you can throw in the wintertime because it's guaranteed to slow you down. You're gonna throw it slow. You're going to drag it very slow. You're going to feel everything that's on the bottom. And it's a guaranteed way to catch some fish this time of year. So what we're going to talk about today is the old Carolina rig, the old ball and chain, what people talk about, the old ball and chain. I've never thought of it that way because I've caught some good fish on it. So new people to the channel, here's your chance to learn a good technique in the wintertime that people just don't throw much no more. So what we're going to talk about is the rod, the reel, everything that you're going to need to succeed at Carolina rig fishing. Now, what I do, and this is no secret, I throw it on a long rod. I throw mine on a heavy action 7'6" Falcon. And the reason I throw a 7'6" is because you don't cast a Carolina rig. You kind of lob it. Okay, that's what we're going to say. We're going to lob it out there because you've got on your trailing line is so much longer usually that you can't just cast it like you would a crankbait or anything else. You have to lob it out there. So that's why I want a long rod, a 7'6". I want a fast reel. This one here is an 8 1-to-1 Cast King, and the reason I want that is because you don't set the hook like you do anything else. You have a sweeping motion when you're setting the hook, and whenever you sweep to set the hook, then you want something that'll take up that line pretty quick. And that's why I want to use a fast speed reel, 8 1-to-1, or a little faster if you want to, because you're going to be dragging with the rod. You're not going to be doing anything with the reel except taking up the slack after you've got a fish on your line. So that's why I use that. Now, the next thing is I use 20-pound fluorocarbon. I use a good heavy fluorocarbon for that reason right there. I want a good heavy main line that I'm going to be dragging dragging the rest of my Carolina rig with. And all that starts with this right here. And I'm going to go through that. First thing is a heavy egg sinker. Now, I like lead because, and I'm going to tell you why. I've tried tungsten. Tungsten is okay if you're kind of a little bit sandier or whatever, but if you get into some bigger rocks, what happens is your sinker will get hung up between those rocks, and the more you pull on it, the tighter it gets, where that lead is soft, and it'll usually work its way out. So that's why I use a lead sinker, egg sinker made out of lead. 3/4 is my basic Carolina rig weight. I go up 1.5 ounces up to that, depending on if it's windy, wavy, whatever. But I have to maintain contact with the bottom with that Carolina rig, okay? So that's the first thing. Next thing is your beads, okay? Years and years ago, they were glass, okay? Kind of got away from glass because I'll tell you why. The glass would chip on a rock and it would cut that main line. So I've gone to a plastic bead, and you can get these plastic beads any craft store, Hobby Lobby, wherever you want to, and you can get, good Lord, you can get 1,000 of them for hardly nothing, maybe $2, $3, whatever. But I use plastic now rather than that, and I don't put no other brass bead, whatever, in between there, because I've found that it doesn't matter. It really don't. Some people like that and swear by it. I've just found out that it doesn't contribute to me catching a fish, okay? Next thing's going to be your barrel swivel. Barrel swivel is a must. You need a good heavy duty barrel swivel. Don't get some kind of little cheap barrel swivel, because this is the main thing between your main line and your lighter line on your Carolina rig, okay? On that main line, I tie a Palomar knot, is what I tie. Let me get it over here so you can see. Palomar knot is what I tie on that, okay? Then we're going down to our lighter line, and most of the time, this is way I do it, okay? You can do it every how you want to, but way I judge it, whatever my main line is, I try to go half of what that is. So I go down to a 10-pound monofilament. This is Trilene Big Game. It's got some stretch to it, because whenever you feel that bite, you're going to set the hook in that sweeping motion we talked about, and that's going to give you a good hook set, okay? Now, something that is very, very important, okay? If you don't get anything out of this video, get this. The length of your leader on that trailing line depends on the clarity of your water. If you're in ultra clear, you want a long trailing line, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. A fish in clear water can see all of that, okay? And he's not going to pay attention to that. Your lure on the back, and it's going to probably spook him. So the longer the line, the trailer line in very clear water, the better. Now, just the opposite, if you're fishing a dirtier, muddier, just a dirtier stained water, depending on that and what you're dragging it through, you want to shorten your leader line, okay? Because that egg sinker is going to be kicking up debris, everything else, and he's going to focus in on that of your lure before he will that, okay? That's why you want to use a short one. Long in clear water, short in dirtier water. So remember that. That's very, very important. Okay, the last thing is your hook selection. A lot of people like to use a wide gap hook. Let me get one here. They like to use a wide gap hook. Myself, I like to use just a regular off-shank hook, offset shank hook, just like you do with a Texas rig or whatever. I have found that you can catch just as much or better, get a better hook set with that sweeping hook set with an offset shank hook, okay? Use about a 1/0, something like that. You can drag a lizard, you can drag a crawl, you can drag whatever you want to drag, a trick worm, whatever on this right here, and that will give you a really good hook set versus that. To each his own. I'm not saying that you can't use that, but for myself, I have found through many, many years of fishing this Carolina rig that is a better selection on your hook selection, okay? Is that right there. Now, as far as baits to put on that, like I said, you can pull a lizard in the spring, say any kind of a crawl, small crawl, any kind of brush hog, anything like that, you can pull on that, okay? In the wintertime, I like a small crawl, okay? Black and blue, brown, anything like that, because that's the size of the crawls in the wintertime, are the small ones, okay? Summertime, you can do the same thing. I usually will go to a trick worm, something like that on there. So that's what we were talking about just a little while ago. My friend stopped by here, and we were talking, mentioned several different things that people just don't throw anymore. They're all caught up in all the electronics, such as that. I like to throw a jig year round, but in the wintertime, what we're going into right now, a Carolina rig will yield you just as many good bites and good fish as any other thing that you can throw. So I appreciate you stopping by. Come on back down. I appreciate my new subscribers I've got. I know we talk old school fishing here on this channel. Nothing fancy. And just stop on by and we'll do it again. I always say that. I always glad to see you stop by the channel. So see you next time, and like and subscribe to the video. I appreciate it.